is Lexington on a beautiful October fall day for the home opener at Kroger Field between the Kentucky Wildcats and the Ole Miss Rebels. With the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb and Taylor McGregor, I'm Taylor Zarzour. Stinch, Terry Wilson, the quarterback, is back on this field after that gruesome patellar tendon injury 13 months ago. Physically, he looked terrific last week against Auburn, can still do all those things we saw before the injury.
He was such an electric performer back in 2018, powering the Kentucky offense throughout that season. 10 wins, a historic year for the Wildcats. And his 2019 year cut short, the knee injury. And we know that he's that dual threat, and we were anticipating more of the passing offense. Versus Auburn, you could see physically ready for the season. But from a decision-making standpoint, he looked rusty. Didn't always play within the offense, didn't make great decisions in the red zone and ball protection, and even following his blockers as a runner, looking to refine his performance here today versus Ole Miss.
Wait a few minutes to see Wilson on the field. Lane Kiffin's getting ready to call some plays. The new head coach at Ole Miss. His offense piled up the numbers last week versus Florida. Wide receiver Elijah Moore went off.
You look at the numbers at wide receiver and what was a run-centric offense a season ago, and Elijah Moore said, it's a new day. Come to me in the passing attack. 227 yards as a receiver. And when you hear Lane Kiffin say that this is the most talented receiver I've ever had coming out of the slot position, then you know that you've got a exemplary talent in number 8, Elijah Moore.
How is that Kentucky D going to slow him down to the field? And Taylor McGregor.
Well, listen, Kentucky certainly knows that they have their hands full in the form of this Ole Miss offense. A lot of things they want to focus on, but in particular, winning the 50-50 ball. It's something that's been their Achilles heel dating back to last year. Defensive coordinator Brad White saying it comes down to two things, technique and having confidence that when you go up to get that ball, you're going to come down with it, guys.
Here comes that Ole Miss offense, Taylor, with Matt Corral, John Rice Plumlee. We'll see both of those quarterbacks quite a bit today as they throw it around the lot so much throughout this game today. And it'll be fun to watch, Stinch, all the differences we see at quarterback. Ole Miss winning the toss and electing to receive. And it's time for Old Trapper, kind of a big deal. We'll go through those keys here today in just a moment as you look at this offense. John Rice Plumlee with Matt Corral at quarterback, hands it off on the first play, and this is Ely coming around the left side. Ely gets just shy of the 40-yard line.
Yeah, all game long, this is the pace at which the Rebels want to operate. Not fast, hyper fast, like warp speed fast. It was an emphasis all week for Kentucky, and you see the Rebels were not for that delayed spot. They would have been ready to snap it.
12 yards on that first play for Ely. Corral back to throw over the middle of the field, and it's caught by Mingo. Jonathan Mingo, who only caught a 2-point conversion last week, gets his first reception of the season, and it's a big one.
This is one of the things that Kentucky talked about. They like to spread you out sideline to sideline and then hit you vertically in the passing game.
1st and 10 for Ole Miss, the fake, and then the throw out of the backfield to Ely. And Ely will get down near the 16-yard line as the Rebels get into the red zone, Stinch. This is the one place they struggled on offense last week. Only 4 of 8 scoring points last week. 8 possessions, 4 times coming up with something. 2nd down and 6 now. And the handoff straight up the gut. Ely dives towards the end zone, and he'll be stopped shy at the 1-yard line. And as the Rebels continue to fly down the field, 1st and goal at the 1. Corral and Ely, it's a touchdown. We'll see, did Corral ever take that ball away from Ely and do it himself? He didn't, he gave it to Ely. Touchdown Rebels.
You're right, Taylor. It was almost like a community touchdown right here. Because you've got kind of a bad snap from Ben Brown. You see it low and away. Matt Corral, he's able to field it, and he gets it in the belly of Ely, and then it's kind of the push.
Yeah,
Watch Corral get behind Ely and power him in there.
Taking a page from Matt Leinart, huh? Luke Logan with the extra point. 8 plays, 75 yards. Don't blink. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin are in Lexington. Up a touchdown. Flying down the field go the Ole Miss Rebels, culminating with a Jerian Ely touchdown run. Play before, he had a 17-yard rush to set him up at the 1-yard line. And Ely, who had a touchdown last week, gets the first score of the game for Lane Kiffin and this flying offense. Stench, they go as fast as any team you'll see in college football.
You could see why, he and Jeff Lebby, who spent time at Baylor, which was one of the fastest offenses I've ever seen, and then was at Central Florida a season ago with Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel, of course, former quarterback at Oklahoma, OC at Missouri. They're going to go as fast as they possibly can.
Let's take a look at which players are kind of a big deal in today's game, brought to you by Old Trapper.
Well, among many others, and you've already seen Ole Miss offensively going to spread the football around. But for Kentucky, when they have the football, Josh Ali, a guy who really needs to have a big day today in the passing game. 9 receptions on 12 targets a week ago versus Auburn. Kavasier Smoke, they'll move him all over the formation, not just lining up in the backfield. And then Jalen Jones and Jaquez Jones at linebacker and safety respectively versus the downhill rushing attack of Kentucky.
Stench, it's A.J. Rose who gets the first try against this Ole Miss defense, and Rose is off to the races, putting on the Jets, calling his own shot, but somebody tackled him. He thought he was going to get into the end zone, but Ja'Cory Hawkins caught up with him inside the 5.
What a great opening for Kentucky. We talk about the downhill running. How about a counter O? Back to the edge, great blocking at the point of attack. And A.J. Rose, he's an Eagle Scout, a leader on this team. He knows better than that. You run through the goal line. You don't stop, throw up deuces on the 10.
That's a 72-yard gain, but it's a come on, man. Rose now on the next play, and Rose right short of the goal line will be marked down inside the 1 as A.J. Finley stops him out. It prevents him from getting in. Give credit to Ja'Cory Hawkins on the play before. The Ole Miss defensive back keeping Rose out of the end zone, but 2 carries for A.J., 74 yards. And Kentucky's at the doorstep.
You look at Ole Miss, and last week faced 74 offensive snaps versus Florida. Ton of yards piled up. They did not start the way they wanted to here, and A.J. Rose desperate to get into the end zone with the direct
They're going to snap it straight to him this time, Stench, and he tries the right side behind blocking there, and they're going to say he stopped short. Did that ball come out? There's a pile on it right now. Ole Miss football.
On the direct snap, and A.J. Rose is trying for a second effort. Great job right at the goal line. He gets stood up. Look at him trying to extend the ball. And it looked like Lakia Henry, among many others, get there and punch this football out. Now the question you have to wonder is, was there any whistle that would have ruled him down? It doesn't look like that was the case. The head linesman comes running in there. A live ball.
And Ole Miss gets the football back. Again, Stench, you got to give credit to Ja'Cory Hawkins for flying down the field and tackling Rose on what should have been a touchdown.
There's no doubt. Yeah, Ja'Cory Hawkins, you get a helmet sticker. Great hustle play. Didn't do a great job at the point. They allow him out. Hawkins never quits on this thing. You see Rose celebrating. Starts on like the 12-yard line. Hawkins with the shoestring touchdown saving tackle.
Now Corral from his own end zone will hand it off, and there's not much doing there on a first down carry by Snoop Connor. It'll be second down. Jamin Davis coming in to make the tackle.
For Kentucky defensively, you weren't able to come up with an answer on an 8-play drive. Took less than 2.5 minutes. Your offense kind of drops it for you. You got to come up with an answer here.
John Rice Plumlee now at quarterback. We're going to see a shuffle there all day, and Plumlee at quarterback fakes the handoff, ran it like crazy all season with over 1,000 yards rushing. It'll get up near the 5, and Davis and Jared Casey come in to force this third down.
Yeah, Plumlee leading the league in rushing a season ago. Unbelievable when you think about it. The quarterback didn't start every game last year, but they ended up kind of shifting towards that run-centric offense as you see Matt Corral now back in the lineup at quarterback.
Corral on a swing pass. It's incomplete as he throws too far in front of Ely. And Ole Miss will have to punt just shy of the 5-yard line.
Well, if you're Kentucky, that's the answer that you wanted to see. Obviously, offensively, you blow it on what was a key scoring opportunity versus a team that you know is going to be able to move the football, but defensively was able to come up with that answer. Get downhill from safety, get a nice play on the edge versus John Rice Plumlee to force this punt out of their own end zone.
Mack Brown in the back of his own end zone, punts to Josh Ali, fields it at the Ole Miss 45. Ali inside the 30, and the Cats will start at the Ole Miss 29-yard line. Wilson with Cavassier Smoke in the backfield this time, and Terry will keep it himself, and Terry gets up to the 25-yard line. Good ball security there for a 4-yard pickup, which will be a very big deal. Terry's worked on it all week long, was furious with himself for the mistakes he made last week against Auburn.
You talk about the pick in the red zone. That's more on a receiver than it is the quarterback, but the fumble was just poor ball security as a ball carrier at the quarterback position.
Kentucky now -4 in turnovers on this young season as the handoff goes to Cavassier Smoke, and he's inside the 10, 1st and goal, Kentucky.
Kentucky loves to pull their offensive front, and this time they do a great job. Kenneth Horsey setting the edge. It's just another one of those counter trays. You get a tight end pulling around as a lead blocker as well. They might be able to make hay all game long with their gap schemes. Pullers with a designated point of attack and allowing their ball carriers to get downhill.
20-yard pickup. Horsey's that one replacement on the offensive line for Logan Stenberg. Great pull there. And Smoke, again with the carry, is inside the 5, down to the 4. So it's Rose who got him down there but made the costly mistake, actually a couple of them, and now it's Smoke's turn. Stench, we called the Kentucky-Vanderbilt game last year when Rose had a fumble on the first possession. We didn't see him again throughout the game. We'll see what Eddie Gran, Mark Stoops, and company decide to do today with Rose, Smoke, and Chris Rodriguez, as all 3 of those guys carry the mail for the Kentucky offense. 2nd and goal. Wilson behind Smoke to the end zone. Touchdown.
So it took a little while longer, right? Which, if you're Kentucky, might not be such a bad thing to try to shorten this game. Watch Wilson get behind his blockers and then just trust it. Didn't try to find daylight. You don't need to. You don't have that far to go. Get behind your pads, find the same color jersey, and follow it as far as you possibly can. Kenneth Horsey once again with the lead block up into the hole.
Matt Ruffalo's extra point is good, and we have a tie ball game. Kentucky gets on the board after a hold by their defense. Here in Lexington, Kentucky has run it 7 times for 102 yards. Just midway through the first quarter. Hadn't thrown it yet. Chance Poor will kick it deep. And Ole Miss will have a chance to return this at the 9. That's Ely. And Ely's out past the 40 before Poor knocks him out of bounds. And Ole Miss will have very good field position. Coming up.
Whenever you see guys early like that, he was either perhaps blocking for John Rice Plumlee, who was motioning out of the backfield.
1st and 15, Corral, the pocket collapsing, flushed out. and will keep it himself. He can run too, as he is hit near the Ole Miss bench at midfield. Ran it 13 times for 50 yards last week. So while Plumlee is the triple threat, Corral can run it too if the pocket collapses. That's a 9-yard pickup.
No doubt. You're exactly right. Extend plays, scramble yards, not dissimilar to Terry Wilson, his counterpart for Kentucky.
2nd and 6, and this is Corral handing to Plumlee, and John Rice will get just past midfield. It'll be 3rd down.
Josh Paschal makes the change. He and DeAndre Square. Paschal making the transition from outside linebacker to defensive end, and he just walked it down from the backside.
Fake to Plumlee this time. Corral from a muddy pocket will slip down as Marquand McCall finished him off. As J.J. Weaver was there first in the backfield, Kentucky forces another punt.
J.J. Weaver off the edge is what made this play. We've seen number 13 twice now flash in this game and affect the pocket. And flush Matt Corral right up to Big McCall. He sucked him down like a Tic Tac, man. Big old body. Number 2 disappeared.
Mack Brown will punt for the 2nd time. And Josh Ali with a fake will let it go into the end zone, and Kentucky will get it at the 20. After a big mistake early, Kentucky's got the ball back in a tie game. And Wilson gives it off to Rose, and Rose has another 1st down run and is out of bounds near the Kentucky bench.
Regardless of who's in at running back for Kentucky, it's always at least a 2-back backfield, unless they go empty. And then it's just a 1-back backfield with Terry Wilson in there. You see the attention he requires, and it opens up the perimeter run for A.J. Rose, because those linebackers have to honor Terry Wilson as a downhill runner.
17 for Rose. Now Rodriguez gets the handoff, and Chris is past the 40. Hold on to that football near the 35-yard line. The guy they call Little Benny gives the Cats good field position.
A little chest thump like Benny, like Big Benny. Look at that. Darian Kennard at right tackle ends up getting picked off by penetration, and you've got a bunch of just bodying up like a cross-body check type tackle. You got to wrap a big man like that up. He's got a head of steam getting downfield, and so far, no indication that Ole Miss can slow down this Kentucky rushing attack.
And as Taylor McGregor was saying, that's the big issue for DJ Durkin and his defensive coaching staff. Got to be aggressive. On a little swing pass out to Ali, and Ali makes a man miss inside the 10, and Ole Miss tackling problems continue. 1st and goal, Kentucky.
How about a wide receiver screen off a play-action fake? Suck the interior defenders in. A.J. Finley comes screaming down from safety. That's a tough tackle to make from depth. He had a blocker out front. Great job by Josh Ali. We've seen already today wide receivers that don't look that ball all the way in. They want to start running before they make the reception. Another nice play to number 6 on the perimeter.
24-yard pickup for Ali. Now Wilson will hand to 24. Chris Rodriguez, and he bounces off Rebels inside the 5. A little chippiness between the Cats and the Rebs here. First time they've met in Lexington in 3 years. And that was a thrilling finish, especially if you're an Ole Miss fan, or DK Metcalf made that last-second grab.
Well, if you're Kentucky, you've just thrown it more than anything else just to prove to the defense that you can. Yeah, they converted to Ali. They had that quick now pass. But no reason, as you see a late substitution for Ole Miss up front, to not keep the ball on the ground.
Rodriguez inside the 5 is down to the 3. It'll be 3rd and goal. That was Ladarius Cox that barely got onto the field, Stinch.
Yeah, you see Ole Miss trying to get some size up front, and instead you end up seeing an interior run from Kentucky. As you see the red zone from a season ago, 80%, 9th in the SEC. Right now, last. Obviously, coming into this game, 1 of 3. Didn't start this game off very well. You better believe that man is counting on a touchdown on this possession.
Wildcat formation with A.J. Rose. He fumbled the football last time they tried this. They try it again, and Rose moving the pile to the goal line. Touchdown.
Look at that. A.J. Rose is the most relieved guy in the stadium. As you see him, he trusts his blocking, and really there was not much there early. The leg drive is what saved A.J. Rose. And you know what? Credit that coaching staff, because we mentioned it earlier, Taylor. Sometimes you see players, they make a boneheaded play, they don't see the field again. You make 2 boneheaded plays, one that costs your team a scoring opportunity. That guy might not see the field again, maybe for a couple of games, maybe a season. Instead, they're calm. They realize the kind of kid that A.J. Rose is, and you can see Lane Kiffin maybe a little bit frustrated. Back-to-back offensive possessions, no points, and now he's looking uphill. You got other options.
Matt Ruffalo gives Kentucky a 7-point lead.
Kentucky will get the ball first in the second half. And Kentucky so far running the football the way that they are, they can limit the number of chances that Ole Miss can hurt them with their offense just by dint of the way they operate offensively. They got to find a way to slow them down, and they need to get back on their skis offensively as well, do the Ole Miss Rebels.
Yeah, a couple 3-and-outs. Ely had a great kick return last time. Watches this one sail over his head. So Ole Miss will start at the 25.
It's just
1st and 10. Corral throwing again and caught again in Kentucky territory by Moore. Went off against Florida with 10 catches last week, and Moore in the early going here gets 11 more.
There's so many offensive weapons that you have to locate if you're playing defense versus Ole Miss. That time, Elijah Moore had lined up in the backfield. He was alongside Matt Corral when he made his release.
1st and 10 on the sweep. This is Ely, and Ely gets to the 40 on what could be the final play of the first quarter.
Well, you can see that once this offense gets going, we'll see, they might mess around and get this snap off just shy of it. But once they get those,
at the end of the first quarter,
they're able to stand on the gas, and you just have to hold on tight if you're a defense.
Over 300 yards of total offense in the first quarter between these two.
Lane Kiffin certainly has a multitude of coaching experience. He's been a ton of different places, but when he was asked what he wanted to bring specifically to Ole Miss, he said energy. He said, I want us to play with so much energy that when people watch at home, they want to be a part of this. He also referenced Oregon a few years ago when they were just electric and so much fun to watch. He wants everybody to feel like they want to be a part of this Ole Miss team. We saw some of the stuff on the sideline with the turnover chain and the money bag and all of that. But guys, you can see on display already here today just how electric this offense can be and how much fun it truly is to watch.
And on a 2nd and 5, Taylor, it's Henry Parrish making his debut today, the true freshman from Golds, Florida. Coach Jeff Levy calling him dynamic, and he gets the carry for the first time. So it's a 3rd down now for Ole Miss as they're in Kentucky territory, down a touchdown to Kentucky in their home opener. 3rd and 2 for Corral. Trying to get it to Parrish. Instead, Parrish blocks for him, and Corral gets a fresh set of downs. And back to what Taylor McGregor was saying, Stinch. Corral hands it off to Connor, and Connor gets nowhere as a couple of cats, including Josh Paschal, are there. 2nd down.
You can see part of the idea now. They don't want to get going. They don't want Ole Miss to even get to the line of scrimmage. Brought a run-down blitz that time from the edge. You see Kentucky trying to disrupt that timing of the Ole Miss Rebel offense before they're able to go through all their ball handling.
10th play of the drive. Fake to Connor, over the top, wide open. Touchdown, Kenny Yeboah.
Louis Yeboah, who got an early start, ended up getting flagged. And see how he just kind of gets lost. He's lined up off the edge of the line of scrimmage. He slipped inside and just gets lost in the traffic. Jamin Davis looked like was intended to be in coverage. Lost track of big number 84, who's proven to be a prominent target in this Ole Miss offense.
Almost blocked as Logan's able to get it off. 10 plays, 75 yards. That took an eternity for Ole Miss. 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Tie game in Lexington, in one we expect to go to the wire. Kenny Yeboah, the transfer from Temple, he gets to wear the chain after the touchdown. Another great tight end for the Rebels. Of course, they had Eric Ebron a couple of years ago. Back in the day, Stinch, they had the College Football Hall of Famer Wesley Walls, Chris Mangum, who had a long NFL career. Walls forced me to get this in. Chris Mangum's getting married October 24th during an Ole Miss home game against Auburn, and Walls is furious about it. Says that's illegal in the Deep South. You can't get married during the home game, Stinch.
You can during a pandemic, apparently.
That kick will go through the end zone. Is a smoke to the ground and make that Rodriguez, and Chris Rodriguez is past the 30 down to the 31 for 8 yards.
Primary tackle.
No, you're exactly right, Taylor. You know, if that doesn't happen, really, if Rick didn't get a paw on that ball, I think it's going the other direction. Jalen Jones certainly thought so. As it is, you get a great first down run from Chris Rodriguez, and it's second down and playbook for Eddie Graham.
And he decides to call Rodriguez's number again. And it's a first down. When they reset this football, it'll be under 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Kentucky does have all 3 of its timeouts. You would think that Coach Grand and Coach Stoops would like to play keep away from Lane Kiffin.
There's no doubt that they're going to be very judicious with those timeouts. You picked up the first down, but you want this to be the final possession of the half versus the Rebels, knowing that you get the ball first in the third quarter.
Wilson rolling out. Wide open receivers, Ali into Ole Miss territory.
When we talked about the passing game and how it has to evolve, well, it's not the most diverse. From a target standpoint, you know where they want to go with this football. An ugly looking ball coming out of Wilson's hand, but regardless, finds its way to Josh Ali, who has been that mainstay, a steadying force in the passing attack.
It's an 18-yard catch for Ali after a career performance last week against Auburn, where he caught it 9 times for 98 yards. Now Rodriguez finding another hole on the right side of the line, and he gets 9 more on first down.
Just remarkable first down efficiency so far in this possession. You had 2nd and 2. Now you come back and it's 2nd and 1. You can do about whatever you want to do here.
And they decide to throw it out to DeMarcus Harris. And Harris will get inside the 32-yard line. Harris, who had his first 4 catches of his career last week, but he did have that fumble on a screen pass. Gives Kentucky a fresh set of downs with the clock rolling, near a minute left in the first half. Rodriguez down near the 25. The ball comes out, but the whistle had already blown. So it'll be second down. 9 yards a carry is what Kentucky was averaging, Stinch, prior to that play. Rodriguez gets 6 more.
Timeout, Kentucky. They're first.
Well, and to your point, it doesn't matter who's in the game, Stinch. Rodriguez has run it 7 times. Wilson, the quarterback, 6 times. Rose 5 times. Smoke 4 times. So clearly, it does. Whoever has the hot hand, whoever's fresh, for Eddie Grand to get into the football game. 189 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns coming into this smoke carry. And Cavassier will get near a first down. The clock's running. It'll be 3rd and short.
As you see Smoke kind of holding his side there as he got up. But as you mentioned,
Kentucky.
it's just rotating the next guy in.
And on a 3rd and 1, you would think that they would go to one of those guys in the backfield, whether it's Rodriguez or Wilson keeping it himself. With 37 seconds to go from the Ole Miss 22-yard line. And it is Wilson keeping it himself. First down. Touchdown. Touchdown, Terry Wilson does it again.
Third and 1, and what does Kentucky do? They give you 4 wide receivers to the field. Spread the defense out. Make them declare how many clearly are going to be in the box. It cleans up the read for your quarterback and Terry Wilson. We just got done talking about his running threat, and boy is he.
13 months ago, tore his patellar tendon on this same field against Eastern Michigan. And he said he was overjoyed with so much enthusiasm last week to play Auburn because he knew his body was right. Well, all Kentucky fans are jubilant to see Wilson healthy in the end zone. It's not just the fans, it's his teammates and his coaching staff. For a guy that is just oozing with leadership, such a fun guy to talk to, so wise beyond his years, a senior from Oklahoma City, started his collegiate career at Oregon. Great to have him back in college football. Off the bounce, Leonard will go to the ground, and Ole Miss will start at their own 18-yard line, which will officially give Ole Miss the 19-yard line. And it's Ely on the ground, getting up near the 25. And a bit surprising to see Lane Kiffin allowing the clock to run, given how aggressive he is as a play caller.
Yeah, that first down call, you know, maybe you think you can slip one out of the gate, and if you do, you get aggressive, and instead just going to play for half. If you're Kentucky, considering the way this game started, Ole Miss sprints right down the football field, you forfeit a scoring opportunity. Credit that Kentucky defense of regrouping and keeping their offense in it in the first half. Great job by the Wildcats of rallying and finding a way to get an advantage on the scoreboard and the ball back to start the second half. It's ideal right now for the Wildcats. See who starts fastest when they come out in the third quarter.
Well, Ole Miss had over 600 total yards last week, 195 in the first half this week. So the Cats defense, one of the best in the conference, limiting Ole Miss in the first half. Let's go to the field and Taylor McGregor.
What kind of impact did it have on the game for you guys to be able to score on your last offensive drive there?
That was a very important drive for us. We got off track with the hold, the possession before, and we're backed up, 1st and 20, couldn't convert. That was a critical drive there, because also just keeping them off the field. You know, their offense is so explosive, and so that was a big drive for us.
What do you think of your defense's ability to slow down their offensive arm?
Well, we had some success, but they're moving it, you know, a little better than I like them to as well. So you got to stay on edge the whole game. I mean, they're very explosive. They go very fast. We were poor with our leverage early in the half. Got a few things ironed out and made it a little more difficult for them.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Guys.
The half has a 21-14 lead. We go back to the studio with Dari, CD, and Chiz. It's a beautiful fall evening in Lexington. Terry Wilson and the Kentucky Wildcats lead Ole Miss 21-14 as we start the third quarter.
But look at that bottom, average yards per play. And we talk about how explosive the Ole Miss offense is, but look at Kentucky at 9.1 yards for every snap. Ole Miss has generated no tackles for losses so far and only 1 explosive play offensively. Kentucky has largely controlled this ballgame.
Just a note to management, if the sponsor is delicious, Stinch will analyze that as well. Kentucky starts at the 25-yard line. Let's go to the field and Taylor McGregor.
Well, Stinch, you said it exactly. Coach Kiffin feels like they're getting outplayed, just more physical from Kentucky on both sides of the ball. He said he would really like to run more this half, but Kentucky is playing cover 3 nearly every down, so they need to pass more, be more successful there in order to get them out of cover 3, guys.
He got that single high safety, and because of that, you've got additional defenders. And right now, you got eyes on the backfield, which you need to be able to do. They have to get them out of that. There's no doubt if they want to be productive.
A.J. Rose almost hit the home run on the first play in the first half. He gets 4, maybe 5 to start the second half. He fumbled, or he was tackled rather, when he thought he was going to waltz into the end zone, fumbled 2 plays later. He did score a touchdown 2 series later to exact some revenge after making that mistake. Wilson fakes to Rodriguez, keeps it himself. Terry takes off. He's in Ole Miss territory, down to the Rebel 42.
We hadn't seen explosives in the passing game. Why not get explosives in the running game? Nearly a 20-yard gain on a downhill. It's like a veer play. It's the Q power. You let that back pull the linebackers wide, and then you crease right downhill between your guard and tackle.
18 to be exact, Stinch, as Rodriguez gets the carry, goes around the right side for a handful. And to your point about the ground game, Kentucky approaching 260 yards rushing in the game on now 29 attempts. They've only thrown it 8 times. Eddie Gran ideally would like to have a balanced offense. Last year, he had the top rushing attack in all of college football if you take the wishbone out. The academies, Army, Navy, and Air Force are the only teams that ran it more than Eddie Gran did. He runs it again, and that is Chris Rodriguez. First down for Kentucky.
Well, and it serves 2 different purposes right now. Not only are you moving the football, you're possessing the football. We talked about that drive to end the first half. You bled the clock down. It melts, you get points, you go into halftime. Now you're going to shorten the football game as you're getting into scoring position.
This is Rose. And A.J. inside the 25-yard line. The biggest thing that I took away from our meeting with Coach Gran yesterday is he said we're going to, as you just alluded to, Stinch, he's going to keep attacking until Ole Miss stops it, and then he's going to show you something that you've never seen before.
But first you got to stop it, right? First you have to stop what they're currently doing and force them to go to something different.
And Rose is stopped. As the tackle is made by Williams, it'll be 3rd down.
Best snap we've seen from Ole Miss. And the thing that I'm noticing more than anything else is that the Rebels are not getting any penetration. They're not replacing the line of scrimmage, meaning there's no knockback from that defensive line. So at least, at worst right now, Kentucky's getting stalemates along the line of scrimmage. They're moving off the ball most of the time. Makes it easy entry for these running backs.
On 3rd and 1, it's Rodriguez to the end zone. Touchdown.
That's the 5th 20-plus yard gainer that Kentucky has had. And look at that. Chris Rodriguez was nearly untouched. He kind of high-stepped, batted away. I mean, I don't know that he ever made contact with an Ole Miss defender.
Ruffalo's extra point hits the right upright and goes through. 10 plays, 75 yards. That takes over 4 minutes. The sophomore from McDonough, Georgia, Chris Rodriguez, with his first touchdown of the season. Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss Rebels punted the football away with 3 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the second quarter in a tie game. Kentucky goes down the field, scores, and Kentucky starts the second half with another score, now up 2 touchdowns, as the Rebels will get it back at the 25-yard line.
Ole Miss has got to find a way to generate some explosive offensive snaps. They've got just that one play of 20-plus, only 195 yards of offense so far.
Corral immediately goes across the middle of the field. Ball comes out there as Yeboah takes it past midfield, but they're going to say the ground calls that fumble.
How about on cue? We just got done saying it. They haven't had a play of 20 more yards since the first series, second play. So how about the first play of the second half? As you see Yeboah clearly down before that ball bounced out. Get the ball back to Yeboah. Only his second target this entire game. The last one was for a touchdown, this time for a big gainer at midfield.
28 yards for the transfer from Temple. Corral to the sideline. And Jonathan Mingo physically gets that first down after the catch. 16 more.
Physically is right. What a finish after that catch. Just muscled his way down for another 4 or 5 yards.
Moore, and he's down inside the 25. Since yesterday we were talking to Ole Miss offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby. I said, who's the second best receiver Ole Miss has behind this guy Moore? And he interrupted me. He said, it's Mingo. He said, I can't believe all he got was the 2-point conversion last week against Florida. He can have a huge season in this Kiffin-Lebby offense. 2nd and 3. Corral again throwing, and it's a strike to Mingo. Touchdown.
I mean, you don't have to belabor it, right? They had to answer. The scoreboard's getting away from them. You're facing a team that can just possess the ball. They run play action and then just spit it out quick on the slant to Mingo. Eccles tries to play for the knockdown. He wanted to break that pass up. If he doesn't, with a physical receiver, it's an easy walk into the end zone. He gets the chain. I wonder how heavy that thing is, man. You want to get over to the bench quickly and keep those legs fresh.
Logan's extra point is good. And just like that, it's a 7-point game. Ole Miss has been outstanding on their first possession of each quarter, culminating with a touchdown. This time, it's the sophomore, Jonathan Mingo. These two are trying to find their first victory of the season.
Throw Florida in that mix, right?
Have to. They're 2-0. Beat South Carolina today. And coming out is Tisdale. And he won't make it to the 20-yard line. Let's go down to the field for an injury report and Taylor McGregor.
Yeah, Cavassier Smoke, who was a part of the rushing attack in the first half, had 4 carries for 26 yards. He went to the locker room at halftime with a rib injury, is now listed as doubtful, guys.
Well, that means that A.J. Rose and Chris Rodriguez will have to carry the mail for Kentucky. They did that for Mark Stoops on the previous drive. This is the worst starting field position Kentucky has had all day. And with that rule of being able to fair catch something and you get it at the 25-yard line that was implemented a few years ago, you just don't know why you would ever come out of the end zone these days. Terry Wilson gets that yardage back and then some. Just shy of midfield.
Yeah, kind of a boneheaded play in special teams, but you make up for it at quarterback. And you see it. The ball's intended to go to the left. You pull your backside guard and tackle. And Terry Wilson sees daylight because Ole Miss tilted the field. All the defenders working their way that direction where the pullers were, and he saw daylight backside and made him pay.
Wilson with 31 yards, and now Chris Rodriguez. He plows his way almost towards another first down into Ole Miss territory. This team averaged 278 yards rushing last year, as we said, 4th in the country. Outside the academies, it was number 1, and they're well over 300 already in this one.
It just been on the screws all game long in the ground game. You can see Mark Stoops, defensive-minded head coach, oftentimes conferring with his play caller and Eddie Gran to make sure they're on the same page.
Rodriguez on a 2nd and 1, first down. His towel, or his t-shirt, I guess, the shirt underneath his jersey comes tearing off, a la the 1970 jerseys.
You can't have tearaway jerseys. You can have tearaway undershirts, apparently. Look at that. He almost slingshots forward. I think the elasticity could account for the final 2 yards of that run.
A.J. Rose in after Rodriguez was banged up on the last play. Terry Wilson goes over 100 yards rushing with that rush, as 3 Kentucky runners are over 100 yards. Rose, Rodriguez, and the quarterback, Terry Wilson.
We talked about it last week versus Auburn. 13 carries for Terry Wilson. And already today, 10 touches in the ground game. And these are quarterback called runs, opportunities for him to keep the football and get downhill, not just scrambles.
This time he takes it out of the belly of his tailback, Rose, and in the backfield come the Rebels, as they were all over that one. Jamar Richardson.
They brought with a corner cat, corner blitz. And Terry Wilson, it's the right read until that corner's right on top of you. That's the first tackle for loss for the Ole Miss Rebel defense all game long. Gets Kentucky off schedule. Can Ole Miss get a stop here and get it back to their offense?
Feels like a big play, given how Kentucky has been possessing the football and milking the clock. Wilson on 3rd and 9 has a wide open receiver, and it's incomplete. He underthrew Harris, and Richardson had time to catch up with him.
They brought pressure, and so Terry Wilson's kind of backing up. He wasn't able to step forward into this throw. As you see right there, pressure right in his face, takes a shot and floats it. Now, if you're DeMarcus Harris, yeah, it's an underthrown ball. You make this catch. Come down with that football for your quarterback. Right now, it seems like Terry Wilson is kind of aiming the football. Really only the 2nd downfield throw we've seen from him all game.
Matt Ruffalo's career long is 50. This is from 49, and it hits the right upright.
Conflicting signals from the officials, but it's no good. And a big stop by the Rebel defense, because Kentucky offensively was just clipping right along. There was little to nothing to slow them down. Ruffalo just pushes this one.
You see those two officials look at each other. One was about to say good, the other no good. Don't need to review it, do you, when it hits the upright? So Ole Miss gets off the field and down 7. Now, Ole Miss has been great on their first possession of each quarter. They haven't done anything after that. This is Snoop Connor, and he does something, getting it past midfield for a big run to put them into Kentucky territory.
Another explosive on 1st down to open this possession. You saw it earlier. They were able to hit Kenny Yeboah. Now already that's their 3rd offensive snap of more than 20 yards.
Last play of the 3rd quarter, and Corral shows off the speed and slides into Kentucky territory down near the 40 as we go to the 4th.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter.
It's a good one in Lexington between the Rebels and the Cats. It always is. Here, Dari, we go to the 4th in a 1-possession game with Ole Miss possessing the ball in Kentucky territory, down 7. Corral in trouble, might get back to the line of scrimmage, as the Wildcats and Cordell Looney and Josh Paschal in the backfield. Let's go down to Taylor McGregor.
After Ole Miss was stopped on that last drive right at the goal line, you would have thought that the momentum would have gone to Kentucky, but Matt Corral came onto the sideline with a big smile and said, let's go, everybody. We have this. He has the confidence, and that's what his teammates love about him. Brent Brown telling me this week that he feels like this season, his confidence has just stepped up a lot more, and I'm talking about Corral there. He says it's contagious, and that's certainly on display right now, guys.
It really is, Taylor, as he has now run the football 10 times here on this 3rd and 6. Corral with Mingo falling down, and that's a catch inside the 20-yard line. 18 more for the sophomore from Mississippi.
And they only rushed 3. They're playing coverage there. 8 dropping. And Mingo gets behind Kelvin Joseph, who looked confused. He was looking back towards where Mingo made that sliding catch. A big conversion for the Rebels to extend this drive.
Fake to Connor, over the top to Mingo. Another touchdown.
Like Taylor McGregor just said, you would think that the momentum would have swung. Instead, the Rebel defense gets a stop. Kentucky and their coming out offense couldn't get anything going. Matt Corral picks up a big gainer to open this possession and then jams 2 in there to Mingo, who, as you can see, why Jeff Levy, the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, is fired up about what he has in number 1. Really coming on strong here in the second half.
Well, last week it was Elijah Moore with a career day. Today it's Jonathan Mingo. 8 catches, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and a gold chain to boot. Tie game in Lexington. Alyssa, who's got numerous shows. I know she'll be talking about Jonathan Mingo in the big game he's having here today for the Ole Miss Rebels. Make room for him as with Elijah Moore, as Kentucky will start at the 25-yard line. So after giving Rodriguez enough, it's back to Wilson again, and Terry hits the hole hard, and this is another first down run. They have been outstanding running the football, Stinch, especially on first down.
And especially on that play. Q Powell, do a great job. Terry Wilson just kind of rides it and is able to hit it up underneath.
11 yards in that play.
You see the defending champion, LSU, heading over to Nashville to face Vanderbilt. And they bounce back after a surprising, at least to some anyway, loss to Mississippi State in week 1.
Terry's going to throw it to the sideline, and it is caught by Ali.
Ali's been his favorite target. It goes without saying. You can see why. So he's got multiple options. As you see on the outside receiver, Alan Daly, he runs off the defender. And he's got a high-low option. Josh Ali, the receiver underneath, and Ali does a good job of possessing that football with 1 foot in bounds.
Caught that like it was an egg. Wilson hesitates and has no place to go. Bottled up this time. His Rebels were in the backfield with him. That is Tyrekus Tisdale. I haven't called his name much today. The transfer from Northwest Mississippi Community College, who grew up in Lexington, Tennessee.
That time well read. Once again, they're trying to run that power play over and over again. Terry Wilson has kept that football and run downhill. See if he ends up getting a give read to the back.
Rodriguez gets it, spins, and will pick up a few. It'll be 3rd down.
Nice play that time by Jaquez Jones, coming up from linebacker, able to get the big back and Chris Rodriguez down on the ground. That's 230 pounds of running back. He has been active in this football game. Not always his strength, though, when he's running sideways, horizontal, towards the sideline. Best when he gets his pads downhill. Now on 3rd and 6. And as we've mentioned, it's been a very quiet passing day for Terry Wilson and the Wildcats.
Just 85 yards passing for Terry on 11 attempts. Wants to run it instead, and he has no place to go. It is Ryder Anderson again.
That's QB draw all the way. He fakes the bubble. They had 3 receivers to the right. You see A.J. Rose, he's the lead blocker, and it was just jailbreak. Defense does a great job of penetrating the offensive backfield.
And on 4th and 8 in no man's land, Mark Stoops is going to keep his offense on the field. Has to get to the 27 for a first.
You see Ole Miss showing perimeter pressure. Josh Ali pointing to the corner, to the slot defender.
Wilson's in trouble, and down he goes on the jailbreak blitz. Momo Sanogo.
Sanogo was on him really quickly, but unload this football. You're in no man's land. Don't go further back. Take a sack on a 4th down. Poor pickup right there on the right side. You see some confusion, runs right in the A-gap. They didn't get exchanged at right tackle and right guard. And Sanogo got a free run at Terry Wilson. Didn't have much time to unload that football, but a negative yardage play. Hadn't been a lot of them for Ole Miss in this game. Kentucky gambled and lost big. Now Ole Miss with a 50-yard field.
Corral throws, and it's wide open. That's Yeboah again.
We talked about Yeboah at the top of this show. The type of weapon he can be, the multiple weapons that they have at Ole Miss at tight end now.
41 yards on that one. Corral to the end zone, incomplete. But another flag comes in, this one on Cedric Gordon.
Pass interference on the defense, number 3. That foul occurred in the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Meanwhile, Matt Corral has been spectacular today. 22 of 27 passing for the Ole Miss quarterback. 301 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he has his Rebels on the verge of taking the lead. He'll keep it himself, and he's just shy of the goal line.
You hit it, Taylor. It's not just through the air. We've seen Corral spark drives with his legs as well as they're over the ball quickly once again on the goal line.
Puts it into the belly of Connor this time, and it's a touchdown.
How did he squirt out of there? I mean, it looked like Kentucky, that once again, that Ole Miss maybe was going too fast. Look right here. How in the world, I think they just, you know, there's this big pile. Everybody thinks the play's made, maybe. Snoop Connor never went to the ground. He was denied the end zone earlier, thought he was in, got the chain, had to take the chain off. This time he gets to keep it.
Kentucky scored on the first drive of the second half. Ever since, it's been all Rebels. 21 unanswered points in the lead. Hotty-toddy in Lexington. And the Ole Miss Rebels with 3 consecutive touchdowns.
They've had excellent field position. Their own 46, their own 47, both times, basically playing on half the football field.
Wilson has plenty of time. He has to throw underneath to Rigg, and Rigg, with the run after catch, gives Kentucky new life.
Great protection. Terry Wilson had all day. They bring 5, ended up leaking that ball out to Rigg. And as you mentioned, the run after catch was the difference. Able to get that conversion and bail out Terry Wilson.
Wilson, like Lynn Bowden last year, is going to do it himself here in the 4th quarter. He gets 6 maybe 7 more. And why would you abandon the run here, Stinch? It's been effective all game long, yielding almost 400 yards rushing.
Unbelievable. Yes, agreed. Other than to keep a defense honest, and I will say, Terry Wilson getting a ton of touches as a ball carrier. That was his 19th carry. Call it 20.
118 yards rushing. He throws it to Ali this time, and Josh has a first down. Marked out inside the 35.
And that gain is good.
Nice block on the edge by Alan Daly. Number 89, 6'3", nice and long, covers up the corner, almost like a tight end or a tackle on a reach block on a sweep. You make a long handoff to Ali, run behind your big wide receiver, who's able to get him to the edge.
Rose will stand in there with Wilson with just over 4 minutes to go. Terry wants to throw. Looking down the field, instead checks it down to Ali. And Josh has another first down inside the 25.
You said it though, Taylor, wanted more. Play action, thought they had a chance. As you see Josh Ali saying, tap me out. I gotta get a rest, gotta get a blow right here. Because Ali was the outlet the whole time. You don't like what you have downfield, get it to your playmaker on basically a check down throw and let him make a play in space. He did. Picks up a first down, extends this drive as the clock continues to tick down. Now inside of 4 minutes. But Kentucky driving this football, fueled by 2 key third down conversions.
4 passing first downs for Wilson on this drive. Manages the clock all the way down to 1 on the play clock, and he's just going to throw this one into the bench with nothing doing. Second down.
Nice pickup on the blitz. Surprised there wasn't an opportunity down there. You see Drake Jackson, preseason All-American candidate. Oh.
8-yard loss, and now Wilson throws inside the 5, gets it all back, and more. Akeem Hayes with the big grab.
It's a nice bounce back. Once again, wide, clean pocket. Akeem Hayes, best downfield throw we've seen, best downfield catch. At the very least in the passing battery for Kentucky all game long. Great protection up front to allow Terry Wilson to make that throw.
First and goal, Kentucky, near the 3. Rodriguez blocking. Wilson whistled down inside the 2. Kentucky fans want a flag on Asante Sistrunk, who was trying to let go.
Asante Sistrunk, who made a great play in the first quarter, forced the fumble. That's a great job just stacking up Terry Wilson right there at the goal line by Dalen Gill. That was just helmet to helmet. Terry Wilson, not a little guy at 200 pounds. But Dalen Gill, he's got him at least 20.
Rodriguez on the direct snap. Touchdown, Kentucky.
How about these 2 offenses in the second half? On this drive, they started out just throwing the football. Terry Wilson airing it out. Makes a couple of great plays on third down to get third down conversions. One, avoiding pressure to extend the drive. And then to cap it off with Chris Rodriguez. Survive an intentional grounding penalty. And Akeem Hayes gets him on the doorstep.
12 plays, 75 yards in 6 minutes and 19 seconds. And it's Chris Rodriguez with the 5th rushing touchdown for the Wildcats. We have a tie game in Lexington. These guys have been outstanding today, haven't they? The rushing touchdowns, the dual threat of Terry Wilson. Corral's run it a few times as well and thrown for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. What a football game. Tied up at 35 with just over 2 minutes to go.
Just look at the production at the quarterback position, and both of them have been clutch in both phases.
First things first, 1st and 10 at their own 25. With Yeboah in motion, Corral is going to hand it off to Ely, who's going to lose yardage, lose 2.
That play was made by Big Phil Hoskins. He doesn't get the tackle, but he made the play. Number 92, right in the middle of that defense, got great penetration and made Ely bubble, made him go away from the line of scrimmage, lose yardage on that opening play.
Empty backfield for Corral, and here comes the Kentucky pressure. Let's see if they mark him down. That is Boogie Watson. And they are going to say it's a sack. Clock running, 3rd and long.
They brought a blitz. It was Yusuf Corker that got Matt Corral to get off his set, push up, right into Boogie Watson, who was able to make that shoestring sack. They've at times been able to get pressure. They haven't been able to get Corral down. And now this 3rd and 17. Can the Kentucky defense come up with this stop with so much yardage to work with?
Corral, catch made just shy of the 35-yard line. As Moore makes the catch, it'll be 4th down. And the big tackle by Tyrell Agent.
Timeout, Kentucky. They're first.
Brown comes onto the field to punt. And Ali back there deep. And this is a great punt by Brown that takes Ali inside his 10-yard line.
Can a Kentucky offense that has been explosive on the ground, but they launched that last drive with their passing attack, do you even risk it?
Rose to the ground, and he'll get a couple. I know my buddy Mr. Stinchcomb bust my chops for the punter love I continue to give on these broadcasts, but my goodness, I mean, Max Duffy's phenomenal. He's the best in the country, and Mac Brown just had the punt of his life, 56 yards, which basically is going to force overtime. Kentucky can't be that aggressive. Let's play some more football.
Well, it's been an exciting first 4 quarters. Why end it here? Especially with these 2 quarterbacks, for crying out loud. I mean, Terry Wilson's just now starting to throw the football. Matt Corral has been on fire, especially here in the second half. More football is good football.
Your favorite overtime crew, here we go. Ole Miss and Kentucky, extra football. Playing some extra football in Lexington. Ole Miss and Kentucky knotted up at 35 apiece. The last time we did one of these, they changed the rules of college football because we went on so long. 7 overtimes, that LSU A&M game in College Station. Each team's had an empty red zone possession, and Kentucky also missed a field goal.
Obviously looms large at this point in time.
Wilson with Rodriguez behind him, and it's Chris ahead for 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. Rodriguez, A.J. Rose, and Terry Wilson have run the football effectively throughout. Cavassier Smoke hurt his ribs in the first half and has not returned. Collectively, they have 389 yards rushing today.
You know, it's something to keep note of because Ole Miss will get a possession. They only ran 63 plays in regulation. They ran 78 last week.
On 2nd and 4, 1st down Kentucky, and it's near the 10.
You see Kentucky continuing to impose their will up front. There have been moments where Ole Miss has been able to find a way to get a stop. Not a lot of negative yardage plays, but just enough to get Kentucky off schedule. But by and large, the big boys up front have done an excellent job of paving the way for this ground game as they continue to pile up rushing yardage.
Kentucky has it at the 10. Wilson on a 1st and goal. Tries the right side. Touchdown.
We've seen this before from Kentucky offensively. What do they like to do? They'll spread out that formation. They got 4 receivers to the left side of the formation. You got what looks to be a lead blocker effectively, and Terry Wilson does a good job. He presses the hole and then bounces outside and is able to win a foot race to the pylon.
Oh, and that one is no good. Ruffalo misses it wide right.
Ruffalo doinked one in. He actually banked a point after in earlier, but it was off of that right upright. We just showed you his missed field goal where he pushed it. And I gotta tell you, it's almost like he lines up that way. He runs right through the ball, and it looks like he's pointing it to the right. Now the onus, of course, is all on this Kentucky defense. You have to force a field goal attempt.
Cats have really struggled to kick the football the last couple of years. They've gone back and forth with Ruffalo and Chance Poore.
Look at that. Look at Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral both fired up.
And now, if Ole Miss scores a touchdown and kicks the extra point, they win it. Corral has had one whale of a game. He'll keep it. He'll take off and slide down at the 20-yard line. He's run for over 50 yards, and he's thrown for over 303 touchdowns. He'll keep it, and it's right near a first down.
An interesting decision in that regard, although I guess not that distinct from what you've seen from Kentucky. A couple of direct snaps. The way Matt Corral has played here in the second half, regardless, effective enough to get a fresh set of downs.
First down, Ole Miss at the Kentucky 15. Corral throws it to the end zone, incomplete. Covered up, Dontario Drummond, as it's Kelvin Joseph with a flag down. Joseph did not turn around.
And Kelvin Joseph obviously had a long day in week 1 versus Auburn. Seth Williams got the better of him on a couple of touchdown throws.
Pass interference on the defense, number 1. Foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 2-yard line. First down.
And as a defender in coverage, you have to have awareness. If nothing else, you're running out of real estate. You have to know if the ball's not coming, get your head around, have an idea of where you are on the field. Ball awareness, and have an idea of where you are on that field. There's only so much end zone to go. Kelvin Joseph gave up a touchdown earlier. That time it was to Jonathan Mingo. This time they're trying to get it to Drummond. Regardless, PI giving Ole Miss a great opportunity at the end zone once again.
Corral to Snoop Connor, and he's bottled up. Might lose a yard there.
A nice play by DeAndre Square, shooting into the backfield and getting on the legs of Snoop Connor. They needed a big game out of number 5. He hadn't filled up the stat sheet. Big play there, though, for negative yardage when it's a goal-to-go situation.
It's Moore moving back and forth. Corral looking that way. Touchdown!
But Moore's motion. Motion's out, starts a return motion, then sprints right back out again. Get the defense moving. It's like the reverse of that puncture play you see a lot, not only in the pros, but in college. So here comes Moore across the formation, starting to return, and then come back right back out. You can see Yusuf Corker, who was the traveler.
And there's the game right there as Luke Logan kicks the extra point, and Lane Kiffin gets his first victory.
Defense, number 26, that continues to climb. He's off the play. The try was good. The game is over.
That is a win for the Rebels over Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats.
You could see at the end of the game, Lane Kiffin's waiting to meet Mark Stoops at midfield. Mark Stoops took a detour to have a chat with the officials first. What an abrupt ending, to say the least.
What a wild one in Lexington, and the Rebels outlast the Wildcats. Lane Kiffin